What's good everyone, Shurit here. So today I'm bringing you guys a NEKROZ! Flipping NEKROZ! Is everything NEKROZ for you? Bloody hell! This is like the 10th time recording, and instead of saying Felgrand Lightsworn like I did in every single other time I say NEKROZ, I might as well not record. I might as well just put the music in the background, put the cards up, and you guys can look at it yourself. You don't need explanations. What's good everyone, Shurit here. So today I'm bringing you guys a Felgrand Lightsworn deck profile. Now of course Felgrand Lightsworn, really fun deck, promised you guys this about 2 weeks ago, was a bit lazy on it but finally got around to it. And another thing is that I promised you guys a Cyberse deck profile as well. Really should stop promising you guys stuff, but yeah, the reason I haven't done that yet, and I really did try, like made the deck profile, played with it quite a bit, but I realised that a lot of the cards aren't out for Cyberse yet, and my profile just really sucked. Like I sat on YGO Pro for a whole hour and I lost every single game. Like that is depressing. That is beyond depression. So I really need more time with that deck, so hopefully you guys can wait for that. I will eventually upload it because I have a really cool format for it, really cute cool music to go in the background for that, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, right now Felgrand Lightsworn, of course, it's all about the dragons are the best. So first up we play 3 copies of Judgment Dragon. Now Judgment Dragon, of course, one of my favourite cards. I said it in my Lightsworn deck profile, my Invoke Lightsworn deck profile. I absolutely love Judgment Dragon. Such easy summoning requirements, such an amazing effect, such amazing stats, just everything's amazing, seriously. JD, no flaws whatsoever. I love the card. And if you guys watch my subscriber duel, then you saw that I used 2 JDs to make BORRELOAD because my opponent had Baguska on the field and I had no other out in my entire deck for Baguska apart from BORRELOAD. So that was fun. I don't recommend you guys do that, by the way. There's nothing cool about that. It's just probably the worst play ever, but it was kind of fun to do that. It was really depressing though, losing 2 JDs just to make a BORRELOAD, but yeah, it is what it is. So next up we play 3 copies of another dragon, 3 copies of Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. Now some may be thinking, sure, it isn't 3 a bit excessive, but the thing is I play cards like RAVINE in the deck, and it's really hard to like get, if you play 2 or if you only play 1, to get it into the graveyard, of course, because at the end of the day milling is luck based, so you want to increase your chances of getting it into the graveyard by playing more copies. It's as simple as that, to be honest. And of course Felgrand, his effect, you banish a monster on the field when you're summoning from the graveyard. If he destroys your opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can bring back a level 7 or 8 dragon type monster from either player's graveyard. And that's really cool because if your opponent, for example, had a Crystal Wing and then you destroyed it, then you could take their Crystal Wing from their graveyard. So I really do find that cool. If they're playing Blue Eyes, they have an alternative, anything like that, Felgrand can take that. And because of the new Kyber legendary collection coming out, Blue Eyes is gaining a bit of popularity, so Felgrand is a really cool card to combat the Blue Eyes deck right now. And then next up, 3 copies of Archbrave Dragon. Same concept with Felgrand, you want to get this into the graveyard. Its on-field effect, when it's summoned, you banish all face-up spells and traps, I believe. So that's may just be face-up spells, but I think it is face-up spells and traps. But yeah, that's really good against Pendulum decks, of course, just banishing their scales, banishing a field spell if they have that up, banishing the Time Pendulum Graph and Star Pendulum Graph. Overall, really cool card. But yeah, most of the time you want to get into the graveyard because its effect brings back Felgrand in the standby phase, in your opponent's standby phase, so that is really cool. And I play the full 3 copies because of cards like RAVINE, we can easily get it out of our hands if we don't need it in our hand, and of course we want to mill it into the graveyard because dropping like 2 Felgrands and 2 Archbraves in the graveyard in your turn, and then the next turn you get to special summon 2 Felgrands, banish 2 monsters, that is really strong. And then next up, the kind of supporting card, only 1 copy of Paladin of Felgrand. I found that there's a lot of normal summons in the deck already. Of course I play Brilliant Fusion because we want to get the light monsters into the graveyard, that makes sense, but I found that only 1 Paladin of Felgrand is necessary. If you're playing like a kind of pure version of Felgrand, then obviously you're going to play the full 3 copies of this, but because we have other cards to summon, it's not really that much of a big deal. It's more of another piece that you can add into the deck. I don't recommend cutting it, but the 1 copy is enough. Next up, 3 copies of WULF Lightsworn Beast. Now we play the full 3 copies of WULF, unlike the other Lightsworns we play, because you mill a lot with this deck. WULF is arguably the better Lightsworn in this deck, of course, compared to Raiden and Lumina, because the thing is, you're going to brick more in with this deck than with pure Lightsworn, of course you don't really brick with either of them, but there's a higher chance of you bricking, so that's why I don't really want to play that many Raidens and Luminas, because if you get a Wolf in your hand, fair enough, but you can solo recharge that. But the thing is, Wolf is a lot more like potent, I think, where milling it to the graveyard and then special summoning itself, it gives you that extra thing, whereas if you just have a Raiden or so and you normal summon it and you mill 2, that's a bit off. So we're keeping that extra Wolf in the deck, I think, is really cool, and we don't play that many Felices either, so I wanted to keep the free Wolf in the deck. And then next up, 2 copies of Raiden, only 2 because I really don't think it's necessary to play 3. You can easily get this card into your hand. You of course have the free charge, free solo recharge, and that's another reason why I play Wolf, because Charge of the Light Brigade, you mill 3 and you add 1, so there's the milling 3 lets you get to the Wolf, and then the adding 1 lets you get to the Raiden. So that's why I play less Raiden, because you're obviously going to be searching Raiden out, you're not searching Wolf out because you want to mill Wolf. So that's my logic behind that, playing the free Wolf and then playing only the 2 Raiden. 2 Raiden, of course, everybody knows his effect. You mill 2 during the main phase, you mill 2 during the end phase, it gains attack points. But yeah, Raiden's really cool because it's a tuner as well, so you can make like Cyframe Lord Omega and things like that. Next up, 2 copies of Lumina. Lumina obviously allows you to swarm the field, discard a card, so that's really cool because it kind of combos off with the dragons. So if you have Felgrand and or Archbrave in your hand, and then Lumina can discard it to the graveyard, because obviously you don't want them in your hand because they're completely useless in your hand. So Lumina does kind of combo off with that, and I think that's really cool. That there's, like in pure Lightsworn, sometimes you don't really want to discard some stuff, whereas in this deck you'll always potentially have discard fodder, because even if you draw the dragons, it's not the end of the world, unlike decks like Blue Eyes, where if you draw 3 vanilla Blue Eyes, which for some reason happens to me all the time, another thing to depress me. Bloody hell, I'm making you guys all depressed in this video. Please don't click away, I promise you guys won't suffer from crippling depression by the end of this video. But yeah, I always draw 3 vanilla Blue Eyes, but that's an issue with the Blue Eyes deck. But because we have Lumina comboed with the dragons in this deck, it's really no big deal. Next up for the one-offs, 1 Felice. 1 Felice is pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. It's when it can only be special summon if it's milled off a monster effect, so if you mill it off charge, then it's complete fail, hence why I only played the 1 copy. And then 1 of the Little Minerva, just a special summon off Crystron Needle Fiber, and because if she's milled from the deck, you get to mill a couple more cards, so Little Minerva's cool as well. You can use it for synchro summons, of course. And then we play 1 copy of Trick Clown because Brilliant Fusion, plus it's kind of another Wolf, to be honest. It may not have the Lightsworn in its name, but that doesn't really matter because it's kind of exactly like Wolf, because if you draw it, you can summon it, but it doesn't have Lightsworn, so you can't solo recharge it. With Wolf, you can't summon it, but you can solo recharge it, so they're pretty much equal, to be honest. And then, of course, 1 copy of Gem Knight Garnet, because play only 1 copy, otherwise you're a scrub, to be honest. And then, talking about Gem Knight Garnet, of course, we've got the free Brilliant Fusion to pair with it. Brilliant Fusion's really cool. It's not just for the extra normal summon, to be honest. The extra normal summon is cool. A lot of the time you might not even use the extra normal summon. The Brilliant Fusion lets you send Felgrand and Archbrave to the graveyard as well, while putting monsters on your field to link summon with, because Lightsworn want to kind of summon extra deck monsters. You can summon like the Galaxy Eyes monsters with your Felgrand stuff, so that's why making some of the links is kind of cool. Also BORRELOAD. BORRELOAD's an amazing card. Why wouldn't you want to be able to summon BORRELOAD Dragon? Free Brilliant Fusion serves the dual purpose of helping with link summoning, giving you the extra normal summon, and of course sending monsters to the graveyard. So it's not actually dual purpose, it's a, what do you call it? If it's free, what do you call it? Hashtag stupid Shurit in the comment section. It's a triple purpose, dual, yeah, it's probably triple or something like that. Please tell me in the comment sections. You guys are cleverer than me, to be honest. And then next up, 3 copies of Solar Recharge. Pretty self-explanatory. One of the best draw cards for any archetype ever, if not the best draw card for any archetype. I absolutely love Solar Recharge. One of the best cards for Lightsworn. Then 3 copies of Charge of the Light Brigade. Well done, Konami, for bringing this card back to free a while ago. You guys did good. I really love Charge of the Light Brigade. Charge of the Light Brigade allows me to play less Raidens, less Luminas in this deck, because we want to kind of avoid bricking, of course, because if we're going to play like 3 Raiden, 3 Luminas, you're going to end up with like 2 Luminas, 2 Raidens, and a couple Dragons in your hand, and that completely fails, to be honest. You want to, of course, have the Ravine in hand. You want to have the Revival card, so you don't really want to play the full 3 copies of Raiden, 3 copies of Lumina. Hence why the free Charge of the Light Brigade allows you to do that, and I love Charge of the Light Brigade for that reason. And then next up, we play 3 copies of Gospel of Revival. If you call it Return of the Dragon Lords, please jump off a bridge. Oh crap, that's depression stuff again. What am I doing? Hashtag depressing Shurit. Seriously, hashtag depressing Shurit. I don't know what I'm doing right now. But yeah, 3 copies of Gospel of Revival. Gospel of Revival, absolutely love the card ever since it came out in the Felgrand structure deck. I bought 3 copies of the Felgrand structure deck because I just love Felgrand. I love Dark Brave. The minute I read them, I loved them. Obviously Gospel of Revival, love that as well. Mix it, you can play it in Blue Eyes, you can play it in this deck. It's pretty self-explanatory why you do play this in this deck, of course, because you got the free Felgrand, you got the free Arc Braves. Unfortunately, you can't bring back Judgment Dragon with this. If you could, this deck would be absolutely amazing. Like, it's already amazing in my opinion, but if you could bring back Judgment Dragon with Gospel of Revival, then it would be absolutely amazing. So 3 copies, the protection it provides in the grave is a bonus, of course. It's really funny when you activate Felgrand's effect, they Solemn Strike it, and because Gospel of Revival doesn't start a chain, you can banish it from the graveyard to protect your Felgrand, even though Solemn Strike or Solemn Judgment or Solemn Warning for that matter is a spell speed free. And then next up, 3 copies of Dragon Ravine. Talks a lot about this. Obviously you're going to discard the cards. If you got like Wolves in hand potentially and you can't solo recharge them, or you got a Trick Clown in hand, you can of course discard that as well. Overall, Dragon Ravine, the concept behind this is if you have Arc Brave or Felgrand in hand, you discard that and then you send the other version. So you have a Felgrand in hand, you discard that, and then you send Arc Brave to the graveyard. So Dragon Ravine, this was brought back to free when Charge was brought back to free. It's like they made this deck for me, seriously. Absolutely love Dragon Ravine. Next up, somebody in the comment section said this. They said only what did they say? They said only pricks play Ruins of the Divine Dragon Lords, hence why I play 5. And I totally agree. It is such a horrible card to play against Ruins. Opponent special summons, effects negated. Opponent special summons, its effects are negated. Opponent special summons, its effects are negated. It's such a funny card. You'll see on WULF Pro, if you just activate it, they special summon something, its effects negated, and they don't read the card properly. They think, okay, it's just a one-off. They special summon again, and the effects negated. And I'm just sitting here behind the screen laughing sadistically because I'm just like, bro, read the card. All your monsters' effects are negated. It's a really cool card, and the fact that it only negates monsters' effects that are summoned apart from the graveyard, so from the extra deck or from the hand, but it doesn't stop graveyard special summoning. So if you special summon Felgrand from the graveyard while you have this face up, Felgrand's effect won't be negated. So really cool card. Also, you can get it back to your hand if you mill it, because you can discard a level 7 or 8 Dragon type monster to add it back to your hand, so it really combos off really well. If you activate Radiant's effect, mill this, you mill maybe this and the Arc Brave, then you discard a Felgrand, add Ruins back to your hand, and then of course you have that special summon for Felgrand next turn. And then finally, to round it all off, we have Monster Reborn. Well done Konami again for bringing this back. Konami have really been on the game, to be honest. I think on the past couple of lists they've really been doing it good. Hopefully we don't see this card banned again. Honestly, I don't think it's too much of a problem. It's kind of just like, it's kind of like Soul Charge, where if you got it, it's cool, but if you don't have it, because it's limited, it's no big deal. If Konami brought it back to 2 or 3, then I could see it being banned instantly again, because it would become too much of a problem. But right now at 1, I think it's absolutely fine. And then talking about Soul Charge, 1 copy of Soul Charge, because if we're going to chuck a bunch of monsters in the graveyard, why wouldn't you play Soul Charge? And that's a bit hypocritical for me to say, because I forget Soul Charge in decks all the time. Like in DDDs, I forgot it before, and people have said to me, sure, you know Soul Charge exists, and I'm like, I should really remember Soul Charge. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. Next up for the extra deck. So for the links, we play 1 copy of BORRELOAD Dragon. BORRELOAD Dragon, one of possibly the best link for, since Firewall Dragon got limited, of course. It's either BORRELOAD Dragon or that card that House of Champs was talking about, the card that Billy Break apparently said is like a Pokemon card. If you guys know which card I'm talking about, the Skull card, I think that might be. If you want to play that in the deck as well, you can play that in the deck, but I like BORRELOAD Dragon. Next up, Crystal Needle Fiber. Konami, please import this card, please. It's not necessary to play Needle Fiber, of course. It's more about the dragons. If you don't play Needle Fiber, then you can cut Minerva and put something else in. The little Minerva, of course, not the big one. Cutting the big one Minerva is a crime against humanity, to be honest. You have to play the big Minerva in Lightsworn. So if you guys like want to play this deck IRL, for example, if you have all the cards and you don't have Needle Fiber, it's no big deal. Needle Fiber is not really a main card in the deck, but Konami, import Needle Fiber, please. And then next up, we play 1 copy of Proxy Dragon. Proxy Dragon is just another card that you can summon after you summon your Needle Fiber, whatever, or if you want to like use it as a stepping stone to go into BORRELOAD, something like that. Of course, it's just another nice link to that you can summon. And then for the Xyz monsters, we have number 95 Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon, and then Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon, and Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. Obviously these 3 cards, you're going to overlay 2 Felgrand, summon it, and then mill a bunch of dragons to the graveyard. I'm pretty sure you guys can figure that out. And of course, because it's a Felgrand deck, it would be a bit stupid to not play Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. Obviously it's technically Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand isn't necessary, if you guys know what I mean, because his effect is like, it's not amazing and it's not bad at the same time. It's kind of just a nice effect that you can use occasionally summon, but I thought, I'm playing a Felgrand deck, it's a bit weird to not put this card in. I wanted it in the deck. And then next up, number 38, because negation. Who doesn't love negation? We all love negation. That's all Yu-Gi-Oh's about nowadays, negation. Hashtag Ash Forehead. I don't know how many hashtags I'm making you right now. Next, that was not intentional, by the way. That was just me being stupid. Next up, we play 2 copies of Minerva, the Lightsworn. Oh my god, I forgot Minerva's name. Lightsworn Saint is the Japanese name.
2 hours later.
Minerva Lightsworn.
1 eternity later.
Minerva the Exalted Lightsworn. Now that is the name of Minerva. I am so stupid, I don't know what is wrong with me right now. But 2 copies of Minerva the Exalted Lightsworn. Absolutely amazing card. You mill 3 if she's destroyed. You mill more cards, you destroy. That's all this deck's about. Mill, mill, mill. Special summon from the graveyard. Destroy your opponent with big ass dragons. That's basically the deck. Mill, mill, mill. Destroy with big ass dragons. That's all you guys need to remember when you're playing this deck. Requires 0 brain power whatsoever. Next up, 1 copy of Castell. We love removing stuff, we don't like them. Floodgates and stuff, so of course we want to get rid of it. Next up, number 41, Baguska, because who doesn't love Stall? Stall is absolutely the best. We all love Stall. And then for the synchros, 1 copy of Cyframe Lord Omega. Of course, this, when it comes back, it doesn't go into your extra monster zone, so you can have another extra deck monster on the field after you banish Omega. So it's kind of cool that it works like that. I'm seriously surprised Omega hasn't been hit, possibly because it hasn't done anything. But originally when Link format came about, I thought this card was going to get hit, especially after it got it got put into Battle of Legends Light Revenge. And then next up, another Lightsworn, Michael the Arch Lightsworn, just removal again, banishing cards, milling cards, we all love that. And then finally Gem Knight Seraph Knight, which is another card that I put Brilliant Fusion in my deck and I don't put Seraph Knight in the extra deck, and then I draw Brilliant Fusion and I'm like, yes, I can summon Seraph Knight. And then I just tried to click on it, I'm like, why is this not working? And I realized, oh god, I haven't put Seraph Knight in. And then the depression kicks in, as you know. So hashtag depressing Shurit, now you have to put it. There's been way too much depression in this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the depression. I hope you guys enjoyed the big ass dragons. This has been Shurit. Peace.